The half marathon is one of the most popular and challenging running distances for new and experienced runners alike. Now, running a faster half marathon requires a combination of training, nutrition, and race strategy. And here are 4 of my tips to hopefully help you run a faster half marathon on race day. So tip number 1 is to make sure that you've got a solid base of running before you start building in a training plan. So that could take weeks or months depending on your level of fitness, and you want to gradually build up your mileage by roughly sort of 10% each week to avoid injury. And alongside building up that mileage, you want to start to increase that intensity and bring up the effort level of some of your runs, adding in some shorter, sharper efforts as you go on. Now, once you've got that solid base and you're running sort of consistently 3, 4 or more times a week, possibly up to sort of 20 to 25 miles, then you can start to build in a specific half marathon training plan. Now, I like the training plans from Matt Fitzgerald. They are based on the 80-20 principle, which means that 80% of your runs are done at an easy pace, and then 20% of your runs are done at a harder pace or a more moderate pace. Now, what I like about his training plans is that there are 3 different levels depending on your experience level, but also your time commitments. So you've got beginner, intermediate, and advanced. So they're not based around paces. It's not based on whether you can run a 1:15 half or a 2-hour half. It purely is based on how much time do you have to commit to your training, and also what is your level of experience. The more experience you've got, the more mileage you'll be able to do during the week. But these training plans are really straightforward, really well structured, and by following them, you are pretty much guaranteed that you're going to improve your fitness, and that's going to give you a really good opportunity to smash your running goals in your next half marathon race. Tip number 2 is to practice running at race pace. So alongside following that training plan, whether that's Matt Fitzgerald or another training plan or one that you've written with your coach, I'd really encourage that you have some time running at your goal half marathon pace. Now, there are 2 key workouts that I've been doing in my training for my past half marathons that have really helped me improve my half marathon training times, and I'm going to share those with you. Workout 1 is running 1 kilometer repeats at your race pace goal. So I would start early on in the training block by doing 3 or 4 of these 1 kilometer repeats, and over the weeks gradually build up until you kind of reach the kind of maximum that I would suggest you do, which is 15 1 kilometer repeats. In between each 1 kilometer repeat, have 1 minute of walking or standing recovery before you move on to the next effort. Now, workout number 2 is an opportunity for you to build your confidence at running at that race pace over a longer period of time. So these are longer intervals at half marathon pace. And again, start small and then gradually build up as your fitness increases and as you work your way through your training plan. So I would start by doing 3 by 3 kilometers, and then I would build up to doing 3 by 5 kilometers. In between each of those repeats, take 1 kilometer of really easy running before you move into the next effort. Tip number 3 is to focus on your nutrition. Now, we know that eating a well-balanced diet of good quality carbohydrates, fats, proteins, making sure we're getting our fruits and our vegetables is all going to help us with our training and making sure that we're recovering, we're well fueled, and to reduce our risk of injury. But we also need to focus on what that nutrition looks like in the race itself, because no matter how well we prepare, if we don't fuel on the race day, then we are going to struggle. We can't blag our way through a half marathon. It's a long race, regardless of what your pace is, whether you're a 1:15 half marathon runner or a 2-hour half marathon runner. It's something where you are probably going to have to take on some fuel whilst you are running. So it's really important that you practice that in your training using those race pace workouts that we've just talked about, and making sure that your body and your stomach is comfortable with the nutrition that you're taking in. Now, the plan that I follow is to take a gel every sort of 25 to 30 minutes. So if I was aiming for a 90-minute half marathon, I would be taking a gel at about 25 minutes and 30 minutes, and then I'd be taking my second gel at around about 55 minutes to the hour. I would always encourage as well just having that one extra gel with you just in your pocket, just as a backup, just in case things go wrong and you're out on the course for longer than you expected. Tip number 4. So my final tip for you is to have a race strategy. So that includes your pacing strategy, it includes your fueling strategy, but it also includes trying, if you can, to get to know a little bit about the course. Now, we're really lucky in this day and age that we can look up those courses on Strava. We can maybe even watch previous runners' race videos of different half marathons to get an idea of what the course is like. So you need to know, are there any hills? Is it a tight and twisty course? Are there kind of long downhills where perhaps I could gain a little bit of time towards the end of the race? All of these things can really help you make sure that you can achieve your goal. You can tailor your race strategy to the course that you are running. Now, most bigger races have pacers for some key times, so a 1:30 pacer, a 1:40 pacer, a 2-hour pacer, etc. So if you're going for a specific time, like a sub 1:30 or a sub 2-hour half marathon, then getting yourself into that group with that pacer can really help. Not only do you then not need to do any thinking about the pacing strategy, you can just let them do the thinking for you. There are 2 other advantages that I've picked out from being in those kind of pacing groups. Number 1, you've got that group mentality around you. So when things get tough, which inevitably they will do in any race of any distance, you know, you've got a group of people around you that can motivate you and spur you on and keep you at the pace you want. And number 2, you know, if on the day it's a windy day or, you know, particularly bad weather, having that kind of pack around you can shield you from those elements and can make your race a little bit easier. You know, you can tuck in behind that group when maybe the going gets tough or if it's particularly windy, and that can help just conserve that little bit more energy so that you've got something in those last few kilometers to give. So I hope that by following these tips, you can get some more motivation and you can get out there and you can beat your previous half marathon time. Thank you for watching, and if you've got any tips of your own, pop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you, and get out there every single day, and I will see you in a new video soon.